So it got later than I had anticipated, so now the sun's going down, but I still want to get this video out because I'm feeling very connected and I feel like it's just a good idea for me to do it today. Um, I'm outside. I just feel like I just want to be outside. I feel just so grounded, and I just listening to like the sounds of outside just makes me feel good. If the cars do go by, I apologize, but I do have my son and my nephew inside, and they are like all the way up. So I cannot get any quiet in there. So I want to talk to you guys about my journey over the past year. I've been on a roller coaster of ups and downs, ins and outs, and it has took me through it. But at the end of the day, I'm grateful. I'll say that. So, two very significant things have happened to me literally in the last calendar year. Last summer was very, very um, catastrophic, to say the least. But it was also, sorry, but it was also so needed. The two things I'm going to talk to you about is the twin flame journey, how I realized that I was on the twin flame journey, and then also the spiritual awakening side of it. Those two things do go hand in hand. So I'll give you a background, or I guess like a textbook definition of what these two things are, how they both intertwine, uh, how those energies like kind of like work with the other, and just kind of give you like my own little personal story. So I'm going to start with spiritual awakening. And if I'm looking down, it's because I wrote some stuff down because I can ramble and I really don't want to do that. So, what is a spiritual awakening? An awakening of a dimension of reality beyond the confines of ego. So, you have your ego self, which is your sense of self, basically. Um, it's what you perceive as a definition of who you are. For example, I am Yvonne. I have one son. I have one sister. I have four brothers. I think kittens are better than puppies. Like, I don't, but just to give you an example of what those things are. And it's just basically the I, and it's just what you define or connect yourself to whenever you think of I. So, the thing with the ego is it's possessive. Its viewpoint is so separate from everything else, which is why ego is about ownership, and it's like, that belongs to me. This is who I am. And it's just a separation. And so there is no like merging of two things, because it's always all about you or I. So the ego accumulates knowledge. It's a thinker. It accumulates. It reads, books. It learns new languages. It learns new crafts. It's all of those things, and it's just I'm sorry. It's just something that it's a sponge. Your ego is a sponge, and it just picks up all of those things, and it just thinks. The spirit, on the other hand, it intuits reality. It it just it intuits reality of what is. It is what it is. It's a lot about intuition and just like an inner knowing of what is and who you are. There is no identification. It is what it is. And so at the end of the day, the spirit just knows. Um, a twin flame, it's a soul connection between two people that unite in the full embodiment of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Gender is not something that is of any importance when it comes to a divine masculine and a divine feminine um, bond. You could be a male and be a divine feminine, or you could be a female and be a divine masculine. You can be whatever it is. It's just depending, it's all energetical. So it's just what the energy carries. So if you're in a same-sex relationship, one person can carry the divine masculine energy and one person can carry the divine feminine energy. It really just depends, because everything is about polarity. There's always like, it's a yin and yang. So it's like what goes up must come down, so within, as within, so without. So it's all about polarity. Twin flames are 1000%, 1,000,000% a fated encounter. It is something that is in your soul contract to, it's one soul split into two people. So when you encounter someone that is your twin flame, there is such a huge recognition of that person because it is you. And it's something that sometimes some people don't experience in this lifetime, because it's a lifetime to lifetime, and no matter what lifetime you are in as you are incarnated, you still have the same twin flame. You still have the same soul recognition, but if you guys are both maybe living on different continents, maybe one person is alive and one person is no longer here. There could be a lot of different scenarios to why two individuals don't come together in a lifetime. But whenever you do, it's magic. It's peace, it's calm, it's tranquility, it's excitement, it's love, it's divine, it's home. It's everything you could think of, and it's just like, that's it. Like, I don't, it just is. It's easy, um, but it's hard. It's up and it's down. It's so many different things. But at the end of the day, it's just an energetical bond between two individuals that is so unbreakable. And there will be times whenever this bond, you would wish that it was breakable. You want it to not be what it is, because it takes you through it. But this is a learning, teaching relationship. You teach the other and you learn things about the other. You learn things about yourself. You become your own teacher. And it's just something that is so divine and magnificent. There is no bond like it. There really isn't. So in a twin flame scenario, you have two counterparts. One is a runner and one is a chaser. Now, if you think of running and chasing, I mean, it's kind of like duh, like, of course, one is running after the other and the other one's like, bitch, bye. It's pretty much obvious, I guess. So from the runner's perspective, there comes a point to where in the relationship, and this can be any time frame, you guys could meet very suddenly and then very quickly separate, or you could be together for an extended period of time and then separate. There is no time frame of how long a twin flame dynamic is together until it separates, if it separates. But the runner really has like no clue of like what the hell is going on. The runner is usually on their side of it is more of like the logical type of individual, the one that is about like the material, the hard worker, the one that is like the go-getter that just just knows like if I don't go out and get it, then it's not going to come. So they're just like on their grind, and it's all about like material and possessions, and it's just very egoistic um, thinking. And so for that dynamic, on the runner's perspective, it's like, well, this isn't making any sense. Why do I feel like this? This is a lot of emotions that are coming up. This is bringing up a lot of like childhood triggers and wounds, and they just don't know how to make sense of like why they feel the way they do and why all of these emotions are coming up. And so naturally, they dip, they run, they take off, they say like, this is too hard, I don't want to do it, or this is not what I thought it was going to be, or I don't know why I feel so strongly and I can't make any freaking sense of it. So I'm going to exit stage left, because for me, that's going to be so much easier to just take myself out of the situation so I don't have to involve myself in all of this chaos or all of this like emotional commotion, basically. So when there's a runner and they take off, naturally, from the chaser's perspective, you want to chase. You want to go and say, like, no, 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 come back over here. Like, we're not done yet. Like, you are a part of me. Don't leave. I need you to stay because you make me feel complete. And I feel incomplete if you're not here. And the runner's like, I don't really give a shit. I don't care about your completion. Like, you're making me crazy. So I'm going. And the chaser, they just don't know how to make sense of why somebody would want to leave something that is so magical. From a chaser's perspective, they're like, but this is beautiful, like this is amazing, we click, we just get it, we laugh, we do all of these things, like, yeah, relationships have hard times, but why would you want to leave something so great? But this builds a lot of anxious energy, and everything is energetical. So if you can think of, it's like magnets, and it's like the opposite magnet. It's like they, no matter how hard you try, like they're not going to come together. And it's like the closer that you get to it, it's still going to go the other way. And it's about energy. So as long as the energy is like low vibrational and it's super anxious, the runner's like, I'm not doing it, and I don't want to have a part of it. So like, leave me alone. What this ends up doing is it destroys the chaser. It destroys them in a way that is like so catastrophic, and it feels like death. It feels like you're dying. It's like, how could you leave me? And it's a lot of blame, and it can get really messy, and it, depending on like where you are vibrationally, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, like, all of these different things. And typically, if you are out of misalignment, that's why this has this separation has triggered, because you are so far out of alignment, not only with your twin but also with yourself. And so there is no common ground, there's no foundation. And so it ends up just being like quicksand, and no matter how hard you try, there's nothing that you can do that's going to hold that person to you. When that happens, there's a lot of things that will be triggered, within the chaser. Abandonment issues, childhood wounds, unhealthy attachments, self-worth, value, mental health, emotional health. So many things are triggered, and you literally are just kind of felt like you're left like so upside down, like, I don't know which way is up and I don't know where to go from here. And it's like you feel like you're standing naked in the middle of a football field, and for everybody to see. You just feel so stripped of everything that you are. and you feel so lost at the same time. It's so like, it's like so life altering. You just really don't have an idea of like where to go. A runner doesn't know why they run. Sometimes superficial, like surface level things are going to say, like, well, you don't cook enough, you don't clean enough, you are not intimate with me enough, I don't like the way that you eat. There's so many different things, but at the end of the day, this is not really what it is that is causing this runner to do, to run. It's just because of the egoic mind. It's just the easier way to say, like, I can't handle my shit and I can't handle your shit. So I'm going to go because it's just, for me, it's easier that way. More than likely, you've also triggered or will trigger some of these wounds in the runner as well, which, if they are not vibrationally aligned and they're not understanding of, who they are as an individual, like their soul self, they don't know how to make any sense of it. So it's just kind of like, I'm just going to stuff it down. They will use a lot of harsh words, and they are also going to come up with a lot of different scenarios to validate their actions, because they need to make some kind of sense of like what is going on. And so for them, they're like, well, I'm just gonna, this must be what it is. So I don't want to, I don't want to deal with it. Basically, they are, not that they're it, not to say that the entire relationship they're probably emotionally unavailable, but there comes a point when all of this is going on, when they just kind of go through like an emotional shutdown. And so they become emotionally unavailable to you. It causes a lot of turmoil from the chaser side, because something that was kind of like rocking and rolling, for whatever period of time, and everything seemed like it was so gelled and you guys are merged and everything feels beautiful, and there's just like this so much love and understanding and commonalities and the communication, and you guys are building, all of these things. And so you're like, well, how could you just stop? Like, how do you just stop and not care or not show me any love or attention, or you ghost me and you're just like, I don't really care about like what's going on with you, like, it leaves excuse me, it leaves the chaser feeling very abandoned and alone, worthless, and just very confused. It leaves them very confused. Um, it Because it triggers like all of those deep wounds, from the chaser and the runner's perspective, but the chaser mostly. It's like the reason why it's kind of like a ping pong, it's like you're volleying, with the other person, and it's like you're setting something off in me and I'm setting something off in you, and it's kind of going back and forth. But if you look at the way that this divine counterpart, like, relationship and bond is, it's like these two individuals, because they are polarity. So it's a mirror. It's a mirror of what you feel and what I feel. So it's like what I trigger in you, I'm triggering in myself, and vice versa, because we are each other's mirror. So at the time, it's like it doesn't make any sense, and it's just things that kind of probably continuously come up, and you're just like, what the hell, like, I don't understand it. You know, why do I feel like this? Why are you making me feel so sad? Or, there's different things, or so maybe one doesn't give enough attention for a certain amount of time, and then that triggers in the person that's not getting the attention abandonment issues. And they're feeling like, well, damn, do you even love me? But it's like, of course I love you. I just had to go to the grocery store and I had like errands to run, and I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to call you, but I was just like super busy. It's not about you. But from that mindset, and that low vibrational thinking, and also like things that are unhealed, it can come up that way. And it's just small things that you don't really realize actually trigger another person, and because you're not really like cognizant of it. And so it's just like all of these small things that kind of just build into big things, because it's both individuals don't really know what the root cause of what these triggers are and why they feel this way. And because they don't take the time to understand why they feel like that, it's something that reoccurs, and it constantly, I'm sorry, I saw a moth. It keeps coming up. So when those small things turn into big things, it becomes like it's like mountains out of molehills, and it's so big in your face, you just don't know what to do or where to go from where you are. And then that's whenever it kind of just dissipates. So now that you guys both know, now that you guys know what, a twin flame relationship dynamic is, what a spiritual awakening is, and how it's like the shedding of the ego, and it's just like the birth of your spirit, and like the spirit knowing, and higher consciousness, all of those things. I'm going to go and give you like the timeline of how this happened, when it happened, and just kind of give you like my own personal story. So, you guys, no, I'm not going to say that. Okay, back up. So, before I give you my personal story, I'm going to tell you, usually these two people are going to meet. They meet, and it's divinely orchestrated for this meeting. It's going to feel very, like, familiar. It's like, I feel like I've known you before, or like I've met you before. It's like it's comfort. Like, you're gonna feel like so much comfort whenever you meet this person. And so it's like your soul is recognizing the other person. It's not like a instant, like, oh my God, like we just fell in love, the same day. It's nothing like that. This is something that evolves. It's partnership, it's friendship you've built on like concrete. Like, it's something that has evolved into something that's so beautiful, and you guys just get each other, like, you just do. So then you get into a relationship, and so it's easy, like, it's like, damn, like, I get to talk to my best friend every day. We have like so many different like similarities. Like, we have a lot of things in common, a lot of interests. We can talk about anything. Like, it's your morals are the same, your values are the same. You have a lot of like hobbies and interests, and like, esoteric things, or maybe just knowledge. Sometimes, a lot of the time, it's like you have like a common, like, you have like a same belief system. I know personally for me, like, when we had talked about it, it was just like, what, you believe in reincarnation too? That's like so crazy, because I don't usually meet people that way, that believe in those things. It's usually like, the same religion, and like the Christianity and all of those things. So I thought it was like super dope that I met somebody that also believed in reincarnation as I did. And so it's like something that you can connect on, and like that you just have like a general like understanding of. And it's just like, cool, that's dope that you get it like I get it. And like, there is no like clashing of the minds when it comes to that stuff. So it is something that is easy, but then there are things that become hard. You know, even though that you guys are so much alike, there are still, no one person is exactly the same as another. We all have our own blueprint, and we are still different in, a lot of different ways, because we still have the free will to think, say, and do as we please. So this is whenever you start to get like the yin yang, what you're strong at, I'm weak at, what I'm strong at, you're weak at. You balance each other out, but sometimes, you don't come to like a meeting of the minds, and it creates tension. But I will say that even though there is, those tips, because relationships have those, this is a constant evolution. of your bond. Your twin flame will never drag you down. Your twin flame will never hold you back. Your twin flame adds to you. Your twin flame adds to your growth, to your advancement in life, whether that be career, education, personal growth, spiritual growth, whatever the case may be, they're going to add to you. They're going to cheer you on and be an advocate for, that really dope ass job that you're like applying for, or those classes that you wanted to take. And it's like, you do it. Like, I got you. I got your back. I'm going to like support you through it. All of that, because this is a constant evolution. You're building together. So it's like whatever you had before, even if you guys both start at nothing, you will end with something, because it's you guys are both adding to each other and complementing each other, not taking. So if something like this is so beautiful, why does it divide, right? Well, there are a lot of different things of why, a lot of different reasons of why a relationship separates, especially when there is one individual that's more intuitive and more in touch with like their self and you know the deeper aspects of themselves, like their emotions and their psyche. And then you have one that's just like moving and moving and moving and shaking and doesn't ever sit down anywhere, and it's always just like, I gotta go get it. If I don't go get it, it's not gonna get got. And it's those types of things. So when you fall off balance and one person is worried about a whole laundry list of things and the other person is worried about a completely different laundry list of things, you come out of alignment. You don't communicate as much as you used to. You're not, taking that time to realign with each other and to practice self-care, not just for you as an individual, but you as a bond. You're not taking care and appreciating like what is so divine. And so it becomes a neglectful connection. You neglect the connection, you don't take care of it, and you don't appreciate it and make sure it's like a baby. You don't just like have a baby and then just like be like, all right, cool, like see you later, like good luck. No, like you take care and you nurture and you feed it and you teach it and you make sure that it thrives until it gets it. A baby grows to be a child, and then a teen, and then an adult, and then all of these things, and you all the way through until they don't need you anymore. But let's be real, kids always need you, and there's never going to be a time when your child doesn't need you. um you just you take special care of what it is. And so that's the same as a very important connection, or any connection really. But with a divine connection, you check in and you make sure that things are okay, and that you guys are on the same page, and you're communicating, and you're taking time to love, and you're taking time to speak to each other about the best parts of that person and what makes them so important to you, and making sure that they feel that and that they know that. Because we don't just live on assumptions. We can't just expect people to just know. It's important for us to always make sure that anybody in our lives is important and valued and appreciated and loved and cared for. And if they're not, then you just come out of alignment. If you don't do it, it's just like throwing in the towel. So then the ego starts to take over, because it's like, I'm too good for this. I don't deserve this. I am better than this. I can do better. I can be better. I don't need you. I don't want to do this. And this is where the ego comes in, because it's a lot about the I. It's not about, we can get through this. We're strong. We love each other. we can find the solution. There is no we, it's just about I. So then this is where the ego comes in, and it makes things so much worse. The ego is not just on like a runner's side. I can say from personal experience, I've had some egoic situations and thought processes, throughout this situation and throughout this journey. And it was a lot about like, I did this for you. I held you down. I built this with you. This is mine. You belong to me. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot about ego shit. And it's like, at the end of the day, you belong to me. You don't belong to me. I don't belong to no one. Like we don't have ownership over people, places, or things. It just is what it is. But we don't, at the end of the day, own anything or anyone. Everybody has their own free will to come and go as they please, to make the decisions and to say whatever's on their minds. We don't have that type of ownership, and that's something that I had to learn, the hard way. That selfishness and that frustration, it creates a lot of like tension in whenever there is like a third party, the like word like completely like I lost the word. Um, when there is a third party interception, it makes it so much harder, because when you have that many energies, none of them are working with each other, and there's always going to be an imbalance of one side over the other. There's always been like that, oh, the grass is not greener on the other side, and all of these different things. And yeah, that is true. Your grass is green where you water it. Whenever their light bulb goes out, you don't go get a new house, you just change the light bulb. But when you think from an egoic place, you don't think about those things. You just think about like, I'm going to do what makes me happy, because at this time I'm not happy. So I'm going to go out and look for what makes me happy. Instead of looking within to try to figure out what it is that's making you unhappy so that you can fix those things, you go out to seek external validation to make you happy. So then this is what causes the Hiroshima bomb of all bombs, because now you have a third party energy in a divine connection, and it makes shit messy. So now that we have all of that, I'm going to give you like a brief, because I've been talking for 30 minutes already, and we ain't even talked about what happened.